Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to episode 001 of Dear Downloads. I'm your host Luke, and we got Connor and Amphy as a special guest today. Today we're talking about The Last of Us 2, going over just what we're playing right now, and go over The Last of Us Part 2 saga. So, what's going on, guys? What you been playing?
How we doing?
How's it going? I've been playing Stardew Valley. It's a farming simulator lately. It's kind of fun, chill.
I've
Some
heard good things
over.
about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like maybe an hour and a half in, but it's fun.
Okay.
It's definitely a good break from like Warzone because I was kind of getting fed up with that.
Why are you
But
getting fed up
literally,
with it? Just too much first-person shooter action, or?
yeah, and I kind of feel like the last update, me and Amphi, what's funny is we just played a game before this and won.
Okay.
Right?
As you talk
And
bad about it.
I know, yeah.
That
I'm
game
just like,
fucking sucks. I was playing it all
Yeah.
fucking week.
Nothing but does. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, really. I don't. It just feels clunky, slower. I don't know. What do you feel, Amphi? What's up?
Same. I think I took a break, same as you did for a few days from it, and coming back to it, just like with the idea in mind that we were just gonna play for like 30 minutes or something. I think we definitely we figured out how to win in that game. If we don't win it, we get like top three, and I think that kind of took the appeal away because it was so hard at first, which is part of it. We played a lot of hours of it. Listening to you guys talk last week, I know you played a lot of hours in games, so ours is kind of less than what you've played. But um, again, I think we've just kind of figured it out, and they've changed the mechanics over time, and it's just kind of become repetitive in a lot of ways, and we're just kind of instead of going for a win, we almost look like we're just looking for new ways to have fun in the game, and it kind of distracts from
It's
winning.
just dull. Yeah, it's
Sure.
just kind of dull. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
just
over it.
getting bored with it kind of deal.
Yeah,
It's okay
yeah,
to step away from games and do something else for a while, play something else. That way you
Yeah.
don't burn
What
out.
What you been playing?
Let's see. I've been playing the Breath of the Wild download content. Yesterday I was playing some Final Fantasy VII Remake. Right now I'm downloading
nice.
Forza Horizon 2. Screw around with that right now.
Forza. Wait, what?
Forza Horizon. It's like
That's
their
cool. Like
Burnout arcade kind of game thing, open world racing game thing. I don't know. It's fun.
open world racing game. That's cool.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like
So not that far into that yet.
Oh, I haven't even started. Oh, I mean, I've played it before, and I'm just re-downloading it to, I don't know, screw with it.
Oh, cool, man.
Feel like playing
That's
something
awesome.
different today. So,
Yeah, that's awesome.
did you guys see that PS5 teardown video?
I did.
No, what? I'll let you both tell me what happened. What's your
Oh,
thoughts?
like Sony did this like teardown video of the console, and it's just like the fucking power supply for the thing's the size of the original Xbox. It's like fucking huge.
Yeah, it's massive. Their cooling system is massive too, which I mean is good. I'm waiting for them to like innovate a cooling system that's smaller and doesn't require making the system look like a house. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
as long as it works and
yeah.
as
As
long as
long
it's
as it
functional, I
works,
don't care.
as long as it doesn't sound like a fucking jet like my goddamn PlayStation 4, then I don't really
Yeah,
care.
same. Yeah, yeah. My PS4 Pro, I feel like I'm gonna take off any minute. After depends on what I'm playing, obviously, but after a little bit. So I'm excited to upgrade to something that doesn't sound like a jet.
Yeah, same here. Like I can't wait to get rid of this fucking thing so I can have something that
Yeah,
doesn't like annoy the shit out of me when I'm playing it.
yeah,
That's one thing I thought was distracting about the PS5. Like they released the images, and then if you read the descriptions on like the dimensions, I'm like, this thing's fucking huge. Like, what is it? Like 16 inches by 14 inches by like almost four. Like,
yeah. It's a boat.
Yeah, it's fucking
yeah,
huge.
that's.
Like that was the other thing that was cracking me up. It's like the console's the size of the guy's fucking torso in the video.
Yeah,
Oh my! I didn't see. Oh, now I gotta
yeah,
watch it. Wow.
yeah. It's cool. It's unique of them to do that. I mean, I guess they did that with the PS4 Pro. I think they did it once before.
Okay.
Um, it definitely gives. If you know what you're looking at, it gives you better insight. If you don't know what you're looking at, you're just looking at a bunch of parts. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like
That's true. Yeah. What's this
casual
mean?
gamers. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think what they're lacking with their presentation of everything so far with the PS5 is that they're expecting everyone to kind of talk like they know what they're doing. Where like the casual gamers are just like, I don't know, I just hope it
Derp.
works. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
haven't given them anything.
What's the
They haven't-
resolution? What kind of TV can I
Yeah.
play it on?
Yeah,
Does
absolutely.
this look good? Yeah.
Yeah.
They've
What's my
given none of
Wi-Fi
that.
support? You know, can I?
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, and
They've
like,
left a lot of their features out and stuff for that
and you don't
reason.
even know
I
what
mean, I
like
don't know.
the UI on either console looks like right now, which is kind of like,
No.
what's the day to day
Interesting.
with it like? I don't know.
Yeah.
It plays
Yeah.
games.
Yeah,
Plays
it's
video
true.
games.
But you probably won't know that till the week or two before, you know, or day of.
Yeah,
But,
possibly.
I mean,
I mean, it could
it's not
just
like
be
it's
that
gonna
they're.
change you. Go ahead.
Oh, it could just be that they're just keeping the same UI as the PS4 and say fuck it.
Oh,
I think they said they weren't. I think they said it was like a whole new experience is the way they described it. But then again, until you see it, you never know. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
hopefully we can pin things to the menu this time. That's all I want. Like,
yeah. I was just listening to an interesting other group of guys talk about the PS5, and I kind of agree with their line of thinking. Like, they're stoked on the PS5 coming out, and what's awesome is we already know what games are coming out. So
Yeah.
that's not a mystery. You know, sometimes that's a mystery. Like, oh, it's a rough deadline. No, we have actual games. But who cares if we don't know what the UI is? Because we're gonna play it anyways. You know.
Yeah, I guess so.
Sure.
It's kind of like,
And they could always patch it. You know.
yeah. I mean, they have been making
Yeah.
some weird updates in the last week. Like they changed, like you can't buy PS3 games on their online store anymore, and they did some
Oh.
weird shit to the trophies the other day.
Really?
oh, strange.
Yeah, like where
Strange.
instead of going from like 100 points like per trophy, you get like 9,000 or 999 points per trophy or some bullshit. But I don't know
Oh,
exactly
strange.
what that's gonna do. So
I wish they had come up with a system to where like trophies mattered or like gave you some kind of coin in the online store for like, I don't know,
yeah,
anything. You know, anything that was of value other than to say I have, 100 gold or
other
like a
than
badge-
saying I'm a
a
giant
badge
fucking
on your-
nerd and all I
Yeah.
do is play video games.
yeah, it's like, oh cool, you have, oh that's cool, so you don't leave your house. All right, got it. You know,
What if they gave you like a
I mean-
badge on your gamer tag? Like you know, whenever you show up in a lobby, it has that badge of, you know, you have more than 1,000 trophies or something. I don't
something.
know.
I'll take it.
Something.
I mean, it would just be cool than better than just like, yeah, look at I have more trophies than you. Oh, cool. Like high five. Now what? For having such an intricate system of trophies and different levels of it and everything, it doesn't really give you any advantage as a gamer other than saying you did it, I guess.
Yeah.
True.
Did you guys
So,
see the AMD announcement?
Nope.
They have
I
new
did not.
processors coming out, and apparently they have trumped Intel for the first time in like
What
Oh,
you
wow.
mean?
2 decades. Means their processors are faster than the Intel processors on every front. Gaming, multitasking, like
That's crazy.
cores, which is like super nuts.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I always kind of thought AMD was ahead anyways. I didn't realize they were like always a step behind.
Yeah, I mean, ever since they announced Ryzen back in like 2017, they've been slowly improving, and they finally caught and surpassed Intel, which is kind of interesting.
That's nuts. That's huge for them.
Yeah, I mean, so
Heck yeah. Well,
Another
before
step
we get
towards the
in,
future.
before we get into our main topic, I was listening to our last episode, and I wanted to clarify a few things.
sure.
Just in case Jared or Kevin ever listened to it. I was talking about Metal Gear Solid Big Boss Mode, and I forgot Jared and I beat it together. We trade off, and then that fist fight at the end where you're fighting whatever solid or liquid,
Liquid.
yeah,
in
liquid
4.
ocelot. Yeah. Whenever you're fist fighting him, we could not. It took us forever. We couldn't beat him. So Kevin came in and like did it first try and made us feel like absolute noobs.
Sounds
So-
like
And then, dude, I had a funny story. So at ASU, when we were in architecture school, what was our history professor name? Was it Thomas?
Oh shit.
Was it Morton or?
Yeah, it was Morton. There you go.
It
Morton.
was Morton. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I thought so. All right. That's just wanted to ask. All right. So while I was in architecture history, I was playing Assassin's Creed 3,
Okay.
and that's the one you're in like ancient Florence and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I was like, I had to tell him, and he's like, you have to show me this game. So I brought my PlayStation to his office,
Nice.
and then I'm like running through ancient Florence, and he's like, oh my gosh, that's the Medici Palace. Oh, that's whatever Brunelleschi's dome. Oh my gosh, you can climb. Like he's like freaking out.
Straight nerdgasm. Yeah.
It was so awesome.
Great.
I was like listening to the podcast. I was like, oh my gosh, I should have said that.
That's
Totally
great.
forgot. Yeah, dude.
That's hilarious that you took the fucking console to his office. Like,
Yeah, dude. He asked me to. He's like, you have to show me. Please bring it. When can you bring it? So I like set up a time to meet him. Yeah, it was funny. All right.
That's great.
So let's get after it. I do want to warn any listeners, if you haven't played the game, come on, get with your life. And this is a spoiler alert. But
for
I'm
Last
just gonna
for Last
start-
of Us 2, just in case we're if you haven't been
yeah,
paying
so, yeah.
attention.
Spoiler at life.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a spoiler alive for every game ever. No, for The Last of Us 2, probably The Last of Us, and maybe even Uncharted, because I might talk into that a little.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd like you guys to start off. Like, I don't. What do you think? Where do you want to start? What did this game mean to you? Like, let's start there, I guess.
I liked this game up until they pulled the fucking Metal Gear Solid 2 fucking swaparoo of the goddamn protagonist.
Okay. Did you stay with it though, or?
Oh yeah, I
was
finished
that,
the game.
Like,
I was just like,
off to you.
it just, I don't know. I was like, why the hell am I playing as this person that I want to fucking kill? So like, I don't know. In the fights with Ellie, I just kept fucking dying to her because I wanted her to fucking die anyways, and the game wouldn't let me do that.
That's funny.
The whole
How
game.
about you, Ampy?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it wasn't the most like original idea, but it has been a while since I've felt. It's the first time I played a video game and felt like I didn't know anymore what I cared about and who I wanted to. You know what I mean? I started caring for both sides and I didn't want to. I was like fighting against it, and then again, like my daughter was watching me play and she's like, "Throw her off the cliff," you know, the whole time. You know. And you know, and then after a while, it was just like, oh no, like what do we do? Like when they met, eventually, like the whole scene played out in like the theater and stuff, and it was like you really didn't know. You were like I felt myself pulling in both directions. Like, just can we all just get along? Can we all just get along? You know, instead of like really rooting one way or the other, which was strange for a video game for me anyway.
Yeah.
That's never happened. So.
Yeah, it made you tether on where you're like, even though it's a character that you're just playing as or have played with, it made you think about your loyalties or
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what else is kind of interesting is you're talking about Metal Gear Solid 4. That end boss battle in this game is very similar to that end boss battle where you're just like beating the shit out of somebody.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, where he's fighting. Yeah.
In the
Man.
shadows.
Anything? I don't know if you want to take it chapter by chapter and kind of like hash out what we thought going through it. Like,
Yeah, that's not
Like
a bad
the
way to do it.
yeah. So like the whole prequel, where you start out as Joel, and then I like how they started this game. Like, you didn't have to play the first one to know it, although you probably should have.
Probably should
But
have. But
he kind of really tells where he came from and why he did it, and admitted it to Tommy. And I thought that was super badass that he I don't know, I guess he couldn't live with it. I don't know, why do you think they decided to do that, other than moving the story forward? Of course, I guess I don't know.
yeah,
Like, what's your thoughts on the prequel and how that panned out?
what do you mean by prequel exactly? Like just the preset before everything started in the game, or like what you learned later on based off of the conversations between Ellie and Joel?
I guess yeah. I guess prequel is like before credits. Well, I guess it really gets into it. So you're playing as Joel in the beginning. He's kind of telling Tommy, you know, the whole first story on his thoughts on why he didn't tell. And he kind of lies to his brother in a small way. I don't know if you remember that, because, you know, he tells his brother that you saved her and that she would die, which was true if, because she's immune and she'd be the cure, but
Yeah.
they'd have to kill her to do it. And he's like, what'd you do? He's like, so I saved her. And he's like, well, what'd you tell her? And he's like, I told her her cure meant nothing, which I guess is kind of true and kind of a lie.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And then, anyways, and then you go through. You're playing as Joel, and then here's what I don't like about the beginning is you're playing as Ellie, and then all of a sudden you're forced into this life she developed, which I feel like The Last of Us Part One, you got to develop that life. Even though you came in
Yeah.
20 years after the events of his daughter, like you got to develop that story. Versus this one, it's already like boom, like this is what happened. You're Ellie. She kissed this girl. Move on. Like you don't even know how they met. Like I feel like I don't even ever understood how they met or
Yeah.
why they even like each
I
other.
feel like a lot of the game is just kind of like, or at least the story is just kind of like on rails. Like they did it because they did it. They don't really have it because we want to get to this like point at the end. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of how
Yeah.
I feel like the narrative is definitely the weakest part of this game. Like from a
You,
like, oh, go ahead.
no. Talk on that. Even the narrative is the weakest point
Yeah, that's what I
versus
think.
like
I mean, just like the
okay.
characters aren't like believable in the way they act. They just do weird shit, and I don't know why they're doing it. Like, Ellie at the end going to get revenge and leaving what's her name and the baby
Yeah.
behind. Like, I don't know. There's just things like that where it's like people aren't acting in real ways like that a person would act. I don't know. It just seems weird to me. But
Well, I mean, I think I don't know, Amphi. If you want to chime in anytime, I feel like I'm spitting
Yeah,
a lot.
I mean, I feel like going back to what you said from the beginning, the pre-game, like the like you said before the credits, I think set up um, almost closure to the first game. I feel like they were trying to give you, because
Yeah.
they
yeah,
didn't exactly like some games are like 20 years later, and then you're just like supposed to adapt to this new world. And I know you kind of had to, like you said, but I felt like it was a better adjustment to at least like continue almost from where it left off in a way. Like if you remember them looking at over the town in the end of the first one, going back to Tommy's, and then them kind of being back in the same spot, different weather or whatever, but and just kind of seeing what could have transpired after they had gone back into the town. They almost could have picked up right where they left off and given us less of that Farmville ending, I guess, and more of a growth into where what they became between the first one and this one. I feel like anyway, I could have done with a lot
Yeah.
less of the grain fields and um,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
the weird kid running around in the barn and you know a little bit less of
yeah,
that and a little more setup would have been appreciated. That being said, um,
yeah.
I've taken it for what it's worth. They did go back and show
More of
kind of how her and Dina ended up together. Like she was very
yeah,
standoffish about the whole dance thing and where the guy, where Joel came in and punched the guy, and it didn't explain any of that in the beginning, and that kind of it you just kind of had to get over it in your head, like, okay, we'll never know. But then they kind of went back and explained some of it and did a little bit better of a job towards the end. But um, you were kind of past that in your mind. That so much had happened up to that point. You're just like, okay, I don't really care why they kissed now. I care more where we're going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah,
That kind of leads to my next question. Was like, what do you think? Uh, I enjoyed it, but what do you think about the storytelling method of this game? Like it was somewhat linear because of course you're playing a game and moving from beginning to end,
yeah,
but within that there's so many flashbacks or like all sorts of narrative ways that take you back and then bring the story forward again. Like I don't know.
yeah. It's kind of weird. Like it's almost like they were gonna go with like you know that like first area you run into in Seattle where it's kind of like this open world area. Um,
Hmm. The highway,
yeah,
where the
like
highway
the
was.
highway and like that block area. I kind of wish that the game was more like that, a lot more, like where you had like these
Oh yeah, huh?
individual like open areas instead of like you had this one like open area and then like the rest of the game's just like on rails from there. I don't know. I feel like it's a missed opportunity maybe. Um,
That's a good point. Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Where you could choose to go to one building or some other building.
yeah,
But
exactly, and
yeah,
like just make things a little more I don't know, random in how you approach things.
that's
Yeah.
true.
But
I think maybe the open area they did use, I think they almost used it as almost like a treasure hunt. If you remember, it was like,
yeah,
I think it was an achievement to check off all the buildings on your map, and that was kind of the biggest open area to the game. But I think part
That's
of
what
the
I did.
problem is also is that they were trying to keep the story linear to the other side of the story, so they almost, I felt like they almost had to set you off on the same course and like
yeah,
um,
the,
edit down how much they were gonna allow the story to expand on itself as a, because there's two stories going on, maybe even three depending on how you look at it. But if they went completely off the rails on one, then they had to do it on the other one, and it would have felt weird to like go into like just that Sea World kind of place there Abby was at,
yeah,
and be able to go out in the city and do whatever you want from there. It would have felt strange doing that. Um, and then not being able to do that as Ellie. And I think they kind of just had to compress what you were able to do per character and per size of the game, I guess. So I kind of get that, but it did leave you wanting more
Here,
exploration possibilities.
there's one thing I really like about how they do their games and like how you play it
yeah.
is I want to start off. Actually, you know what? I want to like this is probably my favorite game I've ever played. Last of Us Part Two and Last of Us the first one. They're like
Okay.
probably my favorite games I've ever played. And
Agreed.
yeah, like so good. But oh my gosh, I lost where I was going. Yeah, so here's one thing they're really good at is yeah, I lost it for a second. They're really good at getting you into tense or intense moments and then giving you moments of relief. Like slowing it down, letting you do calmer things, or just telling like a cutscene, like a
Yeah,
really
there's
short cutscene.
this game has like a very strong like I don't know, sequencing to it. So it's, like zombies, then people, then like exploration, then story, and the whole game is like cut up like just going through the sequencing of it into those like four
Yeah,
items pretty much. Like the
Yeah.
entire game is, one thing to the next, like set piece to human encounter to zombie encounter to story. And that's kind of like
yep,
the plot beats of the game.
that's true. That's true. I feel like there's more zombies in this one than the first one.
You
I
think
felt
so?
like the first one. Yeah, I felt like the first one was a lot of human encounters. Like it's always people coming after you.
I
You
thought
know.
this one was all a lot of human encounters, and I also thought the zombies were just incidental to it. Like if they didn't have
Hmm.
zombies in the game, it would really wouldn't matter, other than from like the shock factor and like bringing in those Walking Dead people.
And that hard ass boss in the hospital. Like
Fuck
fuck
that
that guy.
guy. Fuck that guy. Fuck that fucking guy. That
Yeah.
was the fucking
That-
case
worst.
case and point.
That was the
Dude,
fucking worst.
I got a funny story with that open world where you have the horse. So just got the game and it was like it was Abby's or Abby or Bailey's birthday, and like my mom was in town and they had their friends over and like we're eating lunch and they were like, oh, why don't you play that game? We'll watch you. And so I was like in that part, and so I was in that part, and so like everyone loves horses, even my mom, everyone, they're all like horse lovers. So we're riding and then get through the story a little bit, and then it's to that point where you get ambushed and like you ride over and then you trip on the horse or whatever the fuck happens, and then they fucking kill the horse. So I've got a house full of like 5 children watching that, and they're like, ah! Like losing their mind when that happened. Like right when the horse dies. Oh my god. I
Yeah,
wish I
that's
had
a
a
terrible game
camera.
to put on in front of
Yeah,
little kids.
it's not a kid's game.
Yeah. Yeah,
They
definitely
wanted to
not. That's
watch it.
great.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
Well,
let's
same
play it.
with
I want to
mine.
see what happens."
Yeah, my kids were heavily invested since the first one. The first time my daughter ever like I showed any like emotion towards video games was literally The Last of Us One, and when it ended,
Yeah.
she just kind of sat there looking at the wall. I was like, "You all right?" And she's like, "Is it over?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's over." And she's just like, she didn't know what to do. She literally just started crying, and she was like, "Are they ever gonna come back?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I assume they're gonna make another one." But it was just like, what do you like? I've never been in that position as a parent with a video game. To be like, I don't know, kid. Like if they make another one, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
um,
She was
this
into
game,
it.
yeah. So the second one coming out was definitely a family experience more than most people's families probably would have been with this game. It was an event. It was like we were all excited for The Last of Us. It was a big deal in this house. So, um, that
Yeah.
being said, like you said with the horse, the same kind of thing with when Joel died. Literally,
Oh
like
my god, yeah.
Oh,
they
that
were
was
mad at me,
awful.
like I did it. Yeah, no one wanted to talk to me in my
Like
house.
I
Like
did
I,
it.
like I set this up. I'm like I had nothing to do with it. Like, yeah, it was bad. But I mean, I assume that's a talking point all on its own with that plot twist.
Yeah, I got a whole theory behind all of that. And all right, yeah, here's my thoughts. All right. So I kind of just one of my favorite things with the like design school was doing case studies. So I kind of
Sure.
figured this as a case study. So I wanted to I was thinking about part one. Okay, so when you play part one, let's just think about the story in a nutshell. So part one, you start out the daughter. 20 years later, kind of the whole thing is the loss of his daughter was the beginning. But the whole game you're playing, you're developing the relationship between Joel and Ellie.
Sure.
Mm.
And if we had to go in a nutshell, what I think the complex of the story was for the ending was so she was the cure, but it was the choice, no choice, or her choice of is that what she wanted to die to give the cure, and then of course Joel gave no choice. But however, I love how part two immediately addresses that and digs into it and even flashes back to it with Marlene saying we should give her a choice, but they never did.
Yeah.
So I love
Yeah.
that they flash back to that. So then part two is a similar narrative. So it starts out, then it goes 4 years later, and you have to deal with the loss of a loved one, just like Joel did, but it was a friend or a father figure, however you want to consider Joel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then this game, as you're playing, you're developing the relationship with Ellie and Dina. Are you really
Yeah.
developing that relationship, or Abbi and Owen? So the game deals with moving in time, losing someone, almost like a Disney movie, and then the developing of a relationship between characters. And
And
that's kind
then
of one thing I don't. Go ahead. What's
and
up?
then I
You
think
chime
it's
in anytime.
also like a kind of character, I don't know, study on like dualities as well. Like
Mm.
where I don't know.
Yeah, the game. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
it's very much
Ellie
about
lost her
duality.
dad. Abbi lost her dad.
Yeah,
So
and
it's.
then how these two people deal with this, and it, um,
Mm-hmm.
they almost do it in a very similar manner. But then by the end of it, it seems like Ellie's stuck in her way, and then Abby's just kind of has moved on, I think,
But
and
here's
cares
here's
about
I think
something else.
that's what I think the complex of this story is because Abbi got closure, but Ellie didn't.
Yeah,
Abbi got to kill the killer of her father, but Ellie
but
didn't.
Ellie didn't. Yeah,
She had the moment to, and she chose not to, which I don't. But one of the things I touched on earlier, I don't feel like we got to understand or be a part of what connected Dina and Ellie like we did in part one with Ellie and Joel. Like we got to really understand what connected them.
yeah. It was more like,
Uh,
"Huh, you're cute. Let's date."
yeah,
Wasn't a whole lot of options at the old camp.
yeah, that's true. And
Yeah.
I feel like the biggest. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, and I also think it's funny, like, she brings Dina along, and she does all this like crazy shit, and then as soon as it's found out that Dina's pregnant, like she's just like sidelined for the rest of the game.
Yeah, that's true. Here, you go sit at the theater
Just
and
go hang out at the theater for the rest of the game, like where they just kind of
Go
like
watch a movie.
go watch a movie. They kind of like just narratively abandon her like halfway through the game.
dang, yeah, kind of. You're right. Yeah, that's
I
true.
felt the same about Jesse, their Asian friend. I think
Yeah.
that I thought he was gonna have this like savior role. I thought he was gonna like show up at the right time and really change the story, and he just got blasted
Yeah,
immediately.
he just gets
like,
blasted in the face, and then they never
Wasn't
talk
even-
about him again.
They never even bring him up. Like, damn. So I mean, he's ultimately the father of the child. So
Yeah.
his role is
Oh shit!
obviously-
Yeah.
yeah, he's obviously a permanent member of the quote unquote family, but just his arc was so set like weak, like and I'm not trying to shit on it at all because I understand they might have had more for him at one point, and they were like, listen, like we got to cut this down at
We
some
gotta
point.
pare
This
it
is
down.
becoming
Hey,
we're gonna be on The Last of Us 5 by the time we get to the damn theater. So,
what if
go
what
ahead.
if that broadcasts into part 3? Because that's what I feel like is the ultimate thing of all these games is you're dealing with loss, and then it's about the journey of somewhat redemption.
Yeah.
You know? So that's what I was trying to think of, like broadcasting to part 3. Last one was the loss of a daughter. This one's the loss of a father. And then the game obviously ended where Ellie loses her relationship with Dina. So is that what's next? Is like the family and kids, or even that kid's redemption or revenge for the death of her father?
I honestly think if they do another one, Ellie won't be in it, and it'll be about Abby.
Oh, okay. I don't feel like there's anywhere else for her to go.
Ellie?
I feel like no, Abby.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I feel like Ellie's kind of like a dead end, but maybe that's just me.
Well, I think I think this would be a smart time if they're gonna do more to fast forward ahead like 20 years or something and have the story kind of be told by either Abby because she has Lev with her,
Yeah.
and then Dina's child. They would be like the next generation, I guess, of this. And depending upon what Ellie ends up doing, it could definitely start kind of similar to this. Like, it could be Ellie finding Dina, or like,
Yeah, it's gonna be Dina's
don't
kid
know.
going to kill
yeah, Lev. I mean, they
Or
could
Abby, or
perceivably
Lev.
that's very
Abby,
like
yeah.
that's a bland way to put it, but it could be. I mean, it doesn't really mean anything other than the fact that she killed her dad, but a dad that she never knew in a world that's like long since been destroyed by by itself. And I don't know. Theoretically, I mean, you could piece together probably a couple of things. It never showed Tommy again either.
Yeah.
What happened with
Yeah.
him?
He's kind of
There's a lot.
handicapped though, so like.
Yeah,
I don't
too,
know.
because like, well, with his wife and everything too. I think that town still has a story, which I'd like to know more of. I felt like there was a lot
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
That
I
they
think
never...
it'd be cool to just go hang out in Jackson.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
And there's a
Do
lot more
clear
there. Like,
things and all that stuff, you know.
side note, did you guys notice that which I found out later, there was a guy playing a guitar in front of the bar in the beginning? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Slightly.
Okay, so that character is the facial, and he wrote it. That's the guy who composed all the music for The Last of Us 1 and 2.
Oh, that's tight. They put
Yeah.
a little cameo in. For
Yeah,
that.
so
Nice.
it's him. Yeah, it's him sitting there playing guitar. I thought that was cool. I just threw it in there, but yeah.
Like, I think it'd be cool if they did like how they did the Left Behind and like a Lost Legacy with the Uncharted. If they just did like
Yeah.
a Jackson like Left Behind, where
Yep.
you're just like hanging out in Jackson,
I'd play it.
doing goofy
Yep.
shit.
I like
Kind of like. Go
I
ahead.
like Anthony's thought. I really agree with this moment. Is like, so you play the whole game as Abby, fucking day 1 to day 5 of Seattle. You play the whole game as Ellie, day 1 to day 5. Well, why don't we play as Tommy? Like, I thought that would be an interesting DLC of where was he those 5 days? Because
Oh,
you only
what the-
catch him
Makes
on like
sense.
Yeah, you're
the
just like
last day.
following his like fucking everything up trail.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
you're
think
right.
that would be cool as a DLC.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. He definitely has his own thing, and he's a lot like Joel, I guess, in a lot of ways. So it's kind of like it was kind of nice having that like background father figure kind of watch over guy there the whole time. Anyway, he added a nice like a subtle grounding for the characters, I guess, on that side. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how you look at it, I guess. I mean, he also was kind of I didn't like when like the sniper was shooting at you. They didn't know who it was and stuff like that. I was like, well, you know who it is. Like,
Yeah.
um, I felt like they were like they didn't need to play games with us on that end because we knew. We wanted them to know, and I get that part, but there was a few things in there where I'm like, okay, like
Oh yeah,
this
and
is a
they
little
still don't
drawn
know who
out
he
for.
is.
Yeah, it was a little drawn out for my liking in that regard, but um, overall, I mean, I like Tommy as a character. I think his story's important to the story overall, and it would be cool to see a DLC with more of what he was up to. But
Yeah.
That's what I think is. I think is next is. I think they could go backward in time, not forward, because
Fill in the gaps
there's
a little bit.
yes, yeah, either fill in the gaps between like Joel losing his daughter and meeting Ellie and how he became who he was, meeting all those people, or the gaps of after Last of Us 1 to the 4 years later of part 2.
Yeah.
I think they could really dive into what those times were, or maybe they don't want to. I don't know, but I feel like that's something I'd like to see because I really like Joel, and I'd like to see more with him.
Yeah.
yeah, I agree.
That's kind of all my thoughts. I had a last little note about
Did you guys find
lot
the
of-
game exhausting to play?
here's how I felt, and I'm kind of upset at myself for doing this. Like I was so stoked to see where the story went. I kept getting antsy that I thought I was there, and I felt like I played 3 games because you get so far with Ellie, and then you're Abby, and then you get so far, and then all of a sudden you're not. Like you gotta complete another.
There's
part.
definitely like 5 climaxes in the game.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
So
I
I
thought
felt-
the game's gonna end, and then it doesn't.
I didn't let myself enjoy that. I was too antsy to see like where are they taking me on this story. I want to finish it so I know the whole story versus just enjoying it. So I feel like that was my problem.
Yeah, I definitely slammed through this game. It was like a weekend affair.
Yeah, yeah, we definitely turned it into a, like I said, it was a big thing. It was a big deal around here, so it was like you had to wait for everyone to get together to play it, and then we put a couple hours in, and then no one wanted to stop, but it was time for bed, and you know what I mean. It was one of those deals. Again, I agree with you. I think it definitely had a lot of different what could have been the end, and then
Yeah.
ultimately you were like you said, not I don't know if exhausted is what I would say on my end. It was just like I was ready for it to close. I was like I feel like we did it.
Yeah, I just think it's kind of a heavy game. Like,
It's heavy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't feel
I mean,
good.
like-
I didn't feel good in the end.
Yeah,
Like,
it didn't feel good at the end of it. I mean, like, every time you die and, like, the zombies just, like, ripping your face off, like, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I think another.
And I'm gonna
cool
go kill
DLC
some fucking dogs.
Yeah, exactly. I think another idea for DLC would be cool if they touched more on that other group of people, those beach
Guards?
guys. Yeah.
Oh, you mean
Um,
California? That crew?
yeah,
in
California.
Santa Barbara.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys were nuts.
Yeah, they were crazy, and I'd like to know more. I guess that was they were like using the Fireflies as like their calling card to like get people there. But they obviously have a crazy narrative to them that didn't really. And
Yeah,
then they died so fast,
I had no problem killing those guys.
No, it was great. They were terrible people. That's what that world is. You know what I mean? And like,
Yeah.
there was a lot with on Abby's end too. That whole stadium of people. Like, what happened? Like,
Yeah.
To all
there's
those
so many
people.
things. Like,
Like,
yeah.
after
it's-
playing as Ellie and, like, killing all those people, like, and then playing as Abby, you're like, oh, fuck, I just killed, like, a bunch of normalish people that are just living
Yeah.
their lives. It's like,
Yeah.
damn, I'm a
Yeah.
shithole. But those
Yeah,
guys in
that's
Santa
what-
Barbara, I didn't feel bad for them at all.
no, they're terrible. But I like that whole like trap house thing where like you went in the basement and you felt like you really did something, and then it was like, oh, it piqued your interest, and then it was just like psych, like they were just like hanging out in the garage out front. Um, I don't know, but again, I think I agree that going back in time would be cool. Like, I mean, what was Ellie's friend's name? Riley in the first one? Was it? I think it was Riley.
I don't
That
remember.
that was kind of a goofy thing, but it also gave a lot to the story. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it was
Left
fun. It
Behind?
was eventful. Yeah, Left Behind.
Left
Yeah.
Behind. Yeah.
Yeah. That was
The whole
perfect.
Halloween experience in the mall, and I don't know, the whole thing kind of lent itself to number two more than number one. I thought, like it was a character insight that you kind of knew already, but it kind of just like cemented that, like that's the kind of person,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And it gave her a stronger arc overall, I think.
Oh, you know
which is
what?
good.
Didn't she say she like loved her friend? Like she liked her friend on Left Behind?
Yeah, they kissed.
Yeah, that's right. Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
then that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. And then, died.
And then she died immediately, which is kind of sets up her whole life story. Everyone she cares
Yeah.
about, literally everyone. And I think that's why she doesn't. I think that's why she's so like driven, like to never stop, even though her life has become good. Like she's on a ranch, and but that's not enough for her because everything that she's ever loved has been taken away from her, and she just. I think her fear of losing that just drives her to just keep being who she is, and
Yeah.
Well,
I
then
don't know.
she lost it on herself.
Yeah,
At the end,
exactly. And then she ended up, yeah, she did it to herself in the end. She lost everything because of her actions, which is
That's what I think
crazy.
all these games are. Like they're all they're consequences to your actions.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Uncharted's the same way. Naughty Dog does a good job of taking the good guy and like, I mean, even in Uncharted, you're a thief.
Well,
You're not a.
Also, you probably
you're
kill
not-
like
You're not
fucking
stealing from bad
2,000
guys,
people.
You're like Indiana
Yeah.
Jones in Uncharted. You're like
You're like
getting old
mass
relics.
murderer Indiana Jones.
Yeah, you're destroying historical artifacts, and no, it's fun. Don't get me wrong, I love Uncharted, but they kind of they learn from that, and I think a lot of it comes from like you said with like the whole like suspense thing and stuff. They borrowed a lot of that stuff from years of like Resident Evil and Parasite Eve and games like that where it's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
they set you up to care about who's being attacked, where like cutscenes have like people just getting mowed over by zombies and you're like, cool, that looks cool. But really caring about someone, like I didn't want her to die. When people died, I'm like, shit. Like,
Yeah.
it really
Yeah.
bummed you out So that's what I love about these games so much is it forces you to care one way or the
Well,
other.
What do you think's next with Naughty Dog? So, like, they kind of ended Uncharted. They kind of ended Last of Us. And honestly, it doesn't seem like they have anything on the books. You know what I'm saying? Like, in development.
Yeah, I mean, they
Yeah.
haven't announced anything since this game. I'm kind of surprised they haven't announced like a new Uncharted just for shits and giggles because that's like their cash cow. So, I don't know, maybe they're making a new property. I mean,
Yeah, they said for Uncharted, they said it is Nathan Drake's last adventure.
oh,
I mean,
did they?
Yeah, however you want to read into that, you
Okay.
know. And then they did say for The Last of Us Part 2 they will not do DLC.
Huh.
Yeah, I know. So it's like, fuck. Like, what are you working on as a studio?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm surprised that they haven't announced something. I mean,
Yeah.
it could just be the COVID fucks, but
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess I did do a little digging, and someone put an article said that they're doing they had a few job postings for what was it? Like they were hiring someone that can do map design for single player narrative games. Like recently, we're trying to hire someone, like a level designer. So they're clearly working on something, but I don't know if it is
Yeah.
a new IP or not.
huh.
It probably is. I mean, I think it would be smart again to wait like 10 years for another Last of Us. As long as it took to make this one, it really hit home doing that. Like it mattered.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, 2 years later, you know what I mean? Which, like, I mean, it depends on how you look at it. Like, obviously, I think they broke all kinds of records selling The Last of Us and everything.
For sure.
They,
Oh, yeah.
um, but then you got Call of Duty that comes out every year, and games like that just constantly make money. If you're looking at it for money, then waiting 10 years is not the way to go. But if you care about your characters, which I feel like Naughty Dog does a great job of caring about their product more than like Call of Duty does.
Yeah, they're super insane about like their development cycle and like making sure shit's perfect. Like did you guys play with the ropes in this game?
Like they're nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's so
Like
true.
the amount of
It feels so
programming
real.
that went
Yeah.
into those ropes alone, like they're insane.
Yeah.
Like you could like fucking throw them over shit. Like
It's crazy.
so true.
Yeah.
Like there's a
That's
reason
so
that
true.
they have giant development cycles. I mean, just looking at kind of their previous release cycles, they're at like a 3 to 4 year kind of release cycle between games. So
Exactly.
we
Yeah.
probably won't be seeing
I would-
something new from them for a year or two. Would
At
be
least
my
3
guess.
or 4 years, yeah.
Yeah.
They always put a teaser out or something, you know. And I hope it's something new, kind of. I love Uncharted, but I mean, we have, you know, there's like 5 of them now. There's 4, and then they did the one with his daughter after that, which I didn't even think I played that one.
The Lost Legacy.
Yeah, I don't think I even played that one.
It's
I have it. I just haven't played it either.
Yeah.
It's very similar to the like opening scene in Last of Us, where it's kind of like an open area and you're like going between places, kind of on
okay.
a treasure hunt, rather than like the linear story-driven thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't have a problem with linear stuff actually. That in game depends on how it's
No.
done. Like,
Yeah, it just depends on how it's done.
Yeah, the most extreme example I can think of is like the end of like I think it's Halo. Is it Halo 1 where you're just like in the Warthog driving off the ship?
Yeah.
Like
Oh my god.
there's
I think
nowhere
it's
to go.
2. I think it's
There's
2.
yeah, there's nowhere to go. But that's like the most memorable thing. You're just like we got to get out of here. You're just literally driving us. There's nothing. It's the most fun linear experience you'll ever have. Just driving straight, mowing down aliens and trying to get
That
off
was-
a ship.
That was my favorite part in Last of Us Part 2 when you're with Jesse and he steals that truck and you're just
Just
driving
like
around
driving
blasting
through,
everybody.
blasting
Yeah.
dudes.
Great.
Because I didn't have to worry, like, am I in the right spot or they
Yeah.
gonna see me? It's just like you're fucking
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
It's like that
Yeah.
chase scene in Uncharted 4 too. Like that was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Up
with
Thief's
the-
End.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
Was there a tank? What was chasing you? I feel like there was like
I don't remember.
maybe just
A fucking plane? Like I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like there was like 8 chases in that game. Like that,
Yeah.
that game's wild. So good.
I
It's
think you're
just
referring
like
to the one through the city on the hill. I'm assuming, and then his brother's on a motorcycle or
Yeah,
whatever.
that one's nuts.
yeah, fantastic games. I think Naughty Dog just nails it every time. I mean,
Yeah.
they're like 2 for 2 on IPOs. Well, they have what is it like Jax or Jack or something like that too was like one of their things that
I
everyone
think
liked.
that's just for them to cut loose.
And Crash
Yeah,
Bandicoot.
Yeah.
Oh, they have Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, that's right.
Well, they
So they
they don't
definitely
have
have
it
a-
anymore, but they were the original developer
They
on
were the
it.
guys. Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
I'm excited
I
to see
think
where they go
that's-
from here.
Me too. I
Oh.
can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Whether it be Last of Us or something else, but I would be okay with waiting a few years for Last of Us and letting
Something new come in.
yeah, because there's
Yeah.
gonna be a lot of changes with this new console. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of changes with that new Unreal Engine and everything. Like the
Oh
amount
yeah.
of possibilities is about to open up.
Yeah.
I
Did
mean,
you
if
see
we
that
thought
like
The Last of Us was
Unreal
yeah.
5 demo? That thing is nuts.
insane, it just looks like real people.
Yeah, it's
You know, it just
stupid.
looks
I mean, we've been saying that for 20 years though, since like
yeah.
PS2.
No, that's the game just keeps changing. It's the bar just keeps getting raised, and that's obviously it's crazy because that's not even like a finished version of it. You know what I mean? That's not like and it just obviously it's an enclosed demo and everything's like perfect on it, but
Yeah, I wonder how this
Just
game
the
will run
idea.
on the PS5. That'll be interesting.
yeah, they probably took that into account. I'm sure they did because
They
they
had
knew
to.
about it. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I bet it'll upscale and look even more beautiful.
I
Like,
know.
I
They
don't even
could,
know.
yeah.
Like, this game is probably the most beautiful looking game, other than I didn't play Ghost of Tsushima, so I can't put that into account.
I haven't played that yet
I think,
either.
okay. I know Amphi
It's
has.
good. Yeah, it's pretty. It's pretty in its own way. Very vibrant, pretty. Um, I don't know if realistic pretty is the way. Like I kind of like The Last of Us grittiness. Ghost of
Yeah.
Tsushima seems kind of it's usually raining in that game for some reason, but it doesn't feel like it's real. It looks good. It looks clean. The
It's just
movement.
stylized.
Yeah, everything in the world in that game moves really well. I just feel like the character looks so funny when you're running. Like something about it just doesn't look right.
Huh.
And I don't know what it is. Like your feet don't move right. I don't know what it is about it. And I always laugh when I'm playing it. Love that game. Don't get me wrong. It's literally like Japanese Grand Theft Auto. That's what it is. Um,
God, I need to play that.
it's Grand Theft Auto on horseback. It's literally Grand Theft Auto on horseback. You can do whatever you want. You get to go on like these crazy missions and like these goofy characters and like, the story is not like this great story. It's a good story, but it's told very. The most fun you have in that game is the side missions and the people around it, the whole character thing around it. But yeah, it's Japanese Grand Theft Auto on horseback. I mean, that's what it is, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. You can play for 8 hours and get nothing done, like nothing.
God
So it's
damn.
one of those.
Fucking Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, same thing. It feels
Fuck.
like that. Yeah, same.
I don't think I got any of the story in that game done at all because I'm just too goddamn ADD.
Yeah, it took. Yeah, you can get sidetracked so fast in that. Then there's all those crazy things they put in with like the murderers in the woods, and
Oh,
then there's
yeah.
like a whole dead baseball team out in the woods, and
What the fuck?
um, yeah, in Red Dead, there's like a story in the paper. If you turn to like page 3 and zoom in on the paper or something, it's the only way you can ever find it or something. And it talks about this like baseball team that went missing out in the woods. And then if you go to this certain spot in the woods, there's like a hole dug and there's a bunch of dead baseball players in it. And like why they put that in the game, no one. But there's so many things like that. There's like the witch house and everything out in the woods, and um, there's a bunch of underlying crazy side stories in that game of um,
Moral of the story: don't go into the woods.
Squirrel.
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 Yeah, exactly. That game has it's up there with those. Ghost of Tsushima is up there with that kind of gameplay where you're just like, what did I just do? Like I just played for 4 hours and what did I get done?
Yeah.
I helped the lady like get her carriage back. It's like, well, we probably should have done more with our time, but here we are.
Yeah, I've definitely been
Well-
waiting for PS5 to come out to pick that one up.
Oh, to see
Yeah,
how it
it's
upscales it and everything.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will be gorgeous. Well, I guess we kind of covered much of our topic, and Amphi, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for
Oh
coming
yeah,
on.
thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And everyone, thank you for listening, and yeah, it's a fun time kind of diving deep. If you guys have any thoughts, find us on our Twitter at Dear Downloads, and tell us your thoughts.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, everyone. See you next week.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.